So the Russians had a secret agent in France for decades. The situation, there's a methane leak that happened in Central Asia that went on for months. And right now, the Russians have this doomsday weapon that's going to go up into space. What exactly are we going to do about that? Let's all panic, according to the media and according to some people that are in Congress. Cut me a break. Today on The Worldview. Hi, everybody. Chris Greco here for The Worldview. Host, researcher, all-around good guy, at least to some folks out there, hopefully. Today we have a wide range of topics that we're going to be discussing. And I want to start out right away with, because this is February, I want to make sure the Heart and Health Month aspect is really important. So I want to just say right now that I've had heart disease now for 33 years. 33 years. I've had an angioplasty. I've had a couple angioplasties. I've had 5 or 6 cardiac catheterizations, triple bypass. It goes on and on and on. I'm still around, thank God. But bottom line is this: is that what we're doing is in the heart disease area is, I think we are somewhat diluting that situation, even though, thank God, we have a whole month dedicated to that area of heart health, which is good. But I just wanted to share with you a book that I wrote, my wife and I wrote, called Wholeheartedly, a journal and a journey having to do with the path that happened when I first when I first realized I had heart disease. Didn't even realize I had heart disease, and then it went on and on and on. So I just want to make sure it's here in lulu.com. You can get it. There's the link right there. And what I'll do is I'll just copy it here and make sure that you have it. But just want to make sure that everybody understands, that heart disease is not something that we need to like dilute or just, it'll go away type thing. It doesn't. And just to let you know that, I think the important thing is, let's go to the CDC causes of death. And just to let you know here, what are the causes of death? And it'll say it right here: fast stats leading causes of death, right? So right here, it says it. And it's heart disease. So heart disease, 2023, however, 695,000 people died of heart disease. 695,000 people. The second is cancer. The third is questionable. COVID-19. I'm sorry, but I would have to question that. Did they die from COVID-19 or did they die with COVID-19? I think that's really important to understand that whole situation. But anyways, that's still number 3. But number 2 is cancer. So we're putting tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of money into cancer. Look at the deaths in cancer. Look at the deaths from heart disease. Now we have the American Heart Association. We have different, we have cardiologists all over the country. We do things for this. But I mean, this is really sad. And diabetes is 103,000, and diabetes is directly associated with heart disease. Diabetes is directly associated with heart disease. So, I mean, there you have that situation there. I mean, all these areas. So you have to, stroke, cardiovascular, cerebral vascular diseases. But heart disease and stroke, again, they're related. 162,000. So if you add these up, 695, 162, 103, we have almost 1 million people die a year from cardiovascular or cerebral vascular diseases, or any type of vascular diseases. So this is where you have a real problem with this heart disease area, and it's got to be tried and fixed from that standpoint. So let's talk about this for a second. Here's a exercise supposed to be really good for your heart, right? Well, originally, the JAMA, Journal of American Medical Association, said that exercise and less cognitive decline, it says there's a weaker link than expected between exercise and less cognitive decline. So, previous research tied increased physical activity to the lower risk of cognitive decline, but a recent meta-analysis says that may not be true, right? Well, as any study goes, it's a sampling, and that is something that is really hard to come about. Random sampling turns into systematic sampling, turns into just sampling. There's no randomness about it. And that's, you do a meta-analysis. A meta-analysis is taking all the studies that were done and then studying that. That's basically what it is. Still a significant population health perspective for potential postponed multifactorial diseases causing dementia. So, it's weak, but it was still significant in population health perspective. So, in other words, don't stop exercising. And it's funny because I'm sure that people took that situation where it says exercise is not associated with lessening heart or lessening dementia. All of a sudden, it was kind of like, oh, well, I'm not going to exercise. So that's easy. Why? If I do, then I'm going to have a problem. Anyways, so this is, or if I do exercise, no, I don't have to worry about exercising because it's less. There's weaker link between less cognitive decline. Yay! So cut me a break. So, anyways, February 14th. So this is really new here. So you got to be careful about these studies. How about this one? Weight loss surgery managed blood pressure for people with obesity. Let me say something at this point in time, and this may come as just like a duh for most of you, but weight is associated with heart disease, diabetes, stroke, blood pressure, hypertension, hyperlipidemia. All that stuff is directly associated with weight. Directly associated. That's why Ozempic and Wegovy and the rest of them are putting out these, and they're not untruthful statements, but they're saying basically, if you take Wegovy, you can control your blood pressure. If you take Ozempic, you can control your blood pressure and lower your risk for heart disease. That all has to do with weight. It all has to do with weight. So if you lose weight, then you're going to lessen the situation with obesity, lessen your weight. You're going to lower your risk with heart disease and stroke and diabetes and all the other things you have to go along with that. But let me say something very clearly at this point in time, with something that Wegovy and Ozempic do not point out. You got to take that stuff for the rest of your life, and this is being shown over and over and over again, that people sit there and say, well, I don't want to take insulin. Well, but you're going to take Wegovy, which is a shot. So, it's a little bit less than what you take insulin, but the bottom line is you have to remain on that drug, basically, to control your weight for the rest of your life. And if you come off of that, they've already shown in studies and whatever else that there's some rebound effect with that whole thing. So then they're saying you have weight loss surgery. So people with obesity who underwent bariatric surgery controlled their blood pressure more effectively and took fewer medications at 5 years than those who only received antihypertensive medications. So this is what's going on, and then it goes into different aspects of percentages and everything else. And it's funny, maintained blood pressure readings lower than 140/90. Okay, now let's get something straight here. 120/80, right? 120/80. That used to be considered, 120/80 used to be considered a normal blood pressure. They don't even consider 120/80 normal blood pressure now. Now they want it lower than that. So, best thing, and two parts of it is there's systolic here, top number, diastolic here, right? That diastolic number you actually want below 80. Even if this is above 130 or 140, you still want this below 80, right? According to the doctors. So, all these things have to go with, So even saying, oh, well, it's lower than 140/90, so therefore it's successful as antihypertension. That's shaky, but that's just the way it goes. And the third one I'll show is this one right here, because cigarettes are directly associated with heart disease, directly associated with all the stroke and all the other things that have to go along with that. I know that because some of my relatives smoked, and they ended up dying, probably before their time. E-cigarettes may be better than nicotine gum for quitting smoking. This, after I just heard in North Carolina, as well as the nation, that the media is about vaping. Oh my gosh, vaping, and middle schoolers are vaping. I don't know how they're getting the vaping stuff, but they're vaping. They're doing all kind of, this is bad. They're addicted. This is all kind of bad. But we have the Journal of American Medical Association, folks. This is not some disreputable, off the wall thing. This is the Journal of American Medical Association. It says e-cigarettes may be better than nicotine gum for quitting smoking. Then it goes on to say, but the majority of the e-cigarettes group was still vaping at 6 months, while the group using the two other smoking cessation methods, nicotine chewing gum and varenicline, I guess that's the way you pronounce it, a medication by Chantix, were no longer using these tools. So, yes, you can quit smoking cigarettes, right, using vaping, but you're still going to be vaping. So, I mean, the first paragraph contradicts what they meant by this title. This is not an untruthful title. This is a misleading title. E-cigarettes may be better than nicotine gum for quitting smoking, right? But you're still vaping. You're still breathing in nicotine, right? So, I mean, this whole thing is really interesting. And water vapor is what you're, from what I hear, that's why they call it vaping. So, I mean, involved about 1,100 participants in China who had smoked at least half a pack of cigarettes during the last past five years and received their signed cessation method for 3 months, whatever it is. At the end, about 16 people using e-cigarettes had stopped smoking, compared with 9% of those in the group. Now, think about this for a second. 16% of the people using e-cigarettes. 16%. Like, I mean, yeah, okay, it's 16% that are no longer smoking, but bottom line is 16% compared to 9%. So, and how many people was there? How many people were there? Were there less, more? How does it all work? So anyways, this to me, thank you, Emily Harris. I appreciate that. At least they're transparent, right? At least they're saying things that's good. And then this last one about heart disease. Lipoprotein A. This is a big deal now. The Lipo-A is what they call it. And basically Lipo-A is, hey, that absolutely will, you got to lower that. If you lower that, you actually lower your risk, right? And so they're saying is associated with increased cardiovascular risk independent of the baseline high sensitive C-reactive protein, which is the CRP, which is really, really interesting. So in both secondary, higher was associated with increased cardiovascular risk independent and regardless of CRP. So basically what happens is now you're going to have to get your LPA, right? Lipoprotein A. You're going to have to figure that out. You're going to have to get your, hey, and what are the standards, right? So what are the standards? Baseline plasma considered either as continuous, variable, dichotomized as 125 nmol per liter. Rather have that in milligrams, right? I forget how that's transitioned. I love this. Is sometimes they do this and it's kind of like what is it in milligrams, right? So you have to make your transition here. So what is 100? What is 20 nmol per liter in milligrams? So we'll just do that real quick here. So here it is, milligram per deciliter. That's what we want. So what do we have? Milligram, understand conversion important, blah, blah, blah. So this is how you do it. Great. I wish they had a calculator. Come on, calculator. Nope, they don't. Shoot. Okay, well, anyways. This is, I guess, how to do it. Times molecular weight, but I don't know what the molecular weight is. For example, 7.8, I don't know. So anyways, we got to find out how to do that calculator. So I'm gonna have to put a calculator here. Converting on online conversion forums. So measure. So anyways, you can. Oh, here it is. So I mean, unit converter. Here we go. So 120 is going to be what? Calculate 0. Calculate missing value. 120. I thought it was 120. 125. 125. Hello. 125. So basically, just throw that in there, and you can figure out, hey, this is what we want to get here. So let's see what the calculation. So I'll see if slowing down here because I got so much crud open up, and this is like 2,250 per deciliter. Really? 2,250. So, anyways, yeah. Okay. So that answers that question. Not, but that's tough. All right. So let's go on to some international stuff. Enough of that. So what we want to do is want to get to some international stuff and talk about these areas. KGB, who rubbed shoulders with French elites for decades. BBC does that. So this guy, major French magazine L'Express, revealed prominent former editor, spied for the Soviet Union for 35 years. Isn't that great, huh? Spy for Russia's KGB. Huh. Grumba, I guess it is, handed them to Britain. Soviet archives handed them thousands of pages of documents out of Soviet archives. Named after a Soviet major who smuggled thousands. They were later compiled in a book by Christopher Andrew and Vasily, whatever. Several months ago, a friend of Etienne Girard informed him that an acquaintance who was researching the Matrokin files came across L'Express. The document said that an agent with the code name of Brock worked for the KGB and matched Grumba. Dug into it, found Grumba was written in Russian and some photos. So I mean, isn't that great? Born in 1924, Jewish family. Grumba fled France with his mother and siblings in 1940. Joined the U.S. Army immediately. Was immediately fought alongside the resistance in Algeria in 1943. Afterward, joined AFP, did all kind of stuff, and then all of a sudden, he decides to turn Soviet spy. So, great, huh? So, anyways, good. Nice going, France. Way to go. That's great. So, anyways. And something I wanted to show you guys is a book I wrote. It's called "Should the United States Reevaluate Its Relationship with France?" How do we conduct international policy with France? So, this is based on the tenuous relationship that we have with France, even though presidents, past and present, always seem to love France. I do not understand that. They never treat France the way they should be treated, which is with a bag of salt. Okay, I mean, anything they say, anything they do, I would. There's another agenda in there somewhere. So I'd be really careful with that. So this is my book. It's on Lulu. You can get it if you'd like. So that's what we have there. Here we have Russia developing troubling new anti-satellite weapon. Oh my gosh, what do we do? Cut me a break. We did this crap with J-Stars, and we did it with the Star Wars, that President Reagan did and all that stuff. I mean, it's really interesting. I mean, the technology is much better than it was in the 1980s, but bottom line is that it's just everybody is panicking about this. Russia has got issues with everything. They got issues with their aircraft, their civilian aircraft. Their civilian aircraft are dropping like flies. I mean, I would not, another thing. So the big thing was hyperspeed weapons. Oh my gosh, hyperspeed weapons, right? It was what do we do? And so I wanted to show you this. Russia's hypersonic missiles, right? Ooh, it was March 2023. Remember that? Remember the panic that was caused? What if they carry nuclear weapons? What if they carry tactical nuclear weapons? What are they going to do with this? Back then, it was what 2 years ago. I said 2 years ago, they're not going to be carrying nuclear weapons because hypersonic produces heat. When you heat up a weapon, it's going to either explode or become docile. That's the way it's going to go. So the only reason that they're firing these missiles is not so much to deliver a payload, but to actually penetrate armor or bunkers or things like that. It's actually like a big gigantic, like a nail gun, right? So we have these situations extremely fast and can evade interception for longer than conventional ones. Yeah. Bottom line is this and that and this and that. But if they're not fly by wire. They have a target. They have a Latin long. The Latin long is plugged into a GPS. The GPS is on the missile and it's fired, and that's the way it goes. A lot of people are sitting back saying, "Well, just jam it. Just jam that area." Okay, so let me explain something to you here. When a missile is trying, or anything for that, a drone or anything else, is trying to gain a latitude and longitude from a GPS signal, it's looking up. That's where the satellite is. It's up. It's not this way or that way. It's kind of up over this way, maybe a little bit that way, maybe over this way. In other words, it's usually up. If it's over this way, it can be jammed because you're basically at the horizon level. But if it's up here, you got to do what they call side lobe jamming, which means you have to put a lot of power against where you think this thing might be coming from. And if you can do that, if you put a lot of power in there, literally put like an umbrella around it where it can't gain any signals, it'll just go crazy and go nuts and go off target. But unless you can do that, and the hard part is doing that because you got to generate enough power to be able to get that side lobe. So that's the issue with that area. So good luck. It's really interesting how this whole thing is going. But again, Russia's hypersonic missiles, same thing as this Doomsday weapon that they got, anti-satellite horse poop thing that they got flying up there. They're probably going to shoot their own missiles down half the time because they don't know what they're doing. So that's how that works, right? So that's their troubling new anti-satellite weapon. Yeah, right. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do, United States Congress? You can put sanctions against them? Yeah, great. That's great. Yeah, that'll work. It worked with Ukraine. That's right. It didn't. It's Kazakhstan. Methane mega leak went on for months. Now, I haven't heard anything about this in the U.S. media. None. Man, BBC's right on it every time. This is a methane mega leak, right? And this thing went on for months. They're saying that 127,000 tons of gas escaped when the blowout when it started. Equivalent of 717,000 gas cars for a year. That's how much we're talking about, and this is where that's located. And I think let's go to the big map here real quick and just point out where Kazakhstan is. There's part of the stans, Central Asia. So whenever somebody says Kazakhstan or Tajikistan or Turkmenistan or any of the stans, usually it has to do with Central Asia. So Central Asia is kind of important when we talk about that, and I think it's important just to talk about it, and it's really funny how a lot of people don't realize Afghanistan is part of the stans. It's like, anyways. So here's Tajikistan here, right? And what we have to look for is basically the Caspian Sea. So if we look at the Caspian Sea, right? So this is Uzbekistan, and this is Kazakhstan. So this here, right? And when we take a look at this, Kazakhstan, in this area, we're taking a look at some really interesting stuff here. And this is the Kizilorda region, whatever that is. So this is Kazakhstan, and if we go back to the story itself, we'll see that this is Kazakhstan here, and this is the Caspian Sea. Iran is here, right? So, what we have to find is we have to find the Caspian Sea, which is right here. So this is the Caspian Sea here, right? And where they're saying that methane leak was right in this area. I think that's where it is. Yeah, so right in here. It's right in this area, right in here. So, I mean, look where it is in comparison to everything else, right? So we have this area. Look at this. I mean, it's interesting how when you take a look at Kazakhstan, how big it is, right? This thing is huge. It's a huge piece of ground. I mean, but anyways, that's the Caspian Sea. And the Caspian Sea is really, really, really polluted. It's a very polluted sea. It's, you can see you can sense that this whole area is right in this area. And since we're in this area, let's talk about this. The Azerbaijan-Armenia situation. And this is not good either. There have been some deaths that have come about. Let's see, here we go. 4 Armenian soldiers killed in new Azerbaijan border flare-up. Again, 3 days ago, BBC, nothing in the U.S. media. Why? Because we are so concerned with things that are going on here that we're not putting and Gaza. Gaza is very, very important. But there are conflicts going on right now in this area. So, I mean, this is a border flare-up. This is bad. I mean, 4 people killed. So, I mean, last year, it threw out people from Nagorno-Karabakh. So they just literally, the Azerbaijanis literally took Nagorno-Karabakh back. And you're going to say, gee, Chris, where's Nagorno-Karabakh? There it is right here. It's right in this area. So here's Armenia, here's Azerbaijan, here's Nagorno-Karabakh. They basically have taken Nagorno-Karabakh, and they've told all the Armenians, get out. So now they threw them all out of here. So they're back in Armenia. Armenia is a ally of Russia, by the way. I just thought I'd throw that out there. Not that Russia's doing anything for them right now. So, I mean, that's sad. I mean, really sad situation. French citizenship row engulfs Indian Ocean island of Mayotte. Speck of France in the Indian Ocean become the latest battleground of the laws of immigration. As now a department or county of the Republic, which means in theory that the same rules apply or anywhere else in France. There we go. Visiting the island, the Interior Minister, constitutional changes effect is now to be pursued by government. Crucially, the end of birthplace citizenship would apply only to the island of Mayotte, not to France as a whole. So now they've changed the rules. French changed the rules. It's funny how it's all about they were the ones who gave us the Statue of Liberty. Just thought I'd point that out. Give me your tired, your poor, right? I thought that was interesting. Putin says he prefers Joe Biden over Donald Trump in the White House, but because Joe Biden is more predictable. You wonder if predictable means controllable. I don't know what that means. Anyways, so he prefers Joe Biden. Yeah, okay. So what does that mean? I wonder if he's going to be putting. I wonder if Russia's going to be putting disinformation out so that against Donald Trump. Don't know. I don't know. Finally, ransomware attack hits dozens of Romanian hospitals. About 5-6 years ago, the Department of Homeland Security came in and basically told U.S. hospitals that there were like 240 different vulnerabilities against their infusion pumps. And now all of a sudden, there's all these ransomware hits. Hospitals do not want to correct this stuff. They would rather just, because they need to make money. So that's what they're trying to do, is make money. And because of that, this is something taken into consideration. Dozens of Romanian hospitals, 100 Romanian hospital healthcare facilities, 100 doctors forced to resort to pen and paper, which they should do anyways in some situations as kind of an emergency exercise. Let them do that stuff, make sure that they can get access to paper records, all these things that go on there. I just don't understand why they just don't do that, but that's me. And what am I going to say? So we already talked about hypersonic missiles, and then finally leading cause of death. One more time. Leading cause of death, heart disease, 695,000. Take care of yourselves. Very, 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 very important to take care of yourselves. And that does it for me and Worldview for today. Please tune in next time where we'll discuss more things about the world and worldview and how it affects the United States and you. Take care.